What's up, guys? It's Frank Affronti here with John from Watches with John, and we're at Odessa Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park to review his brand new Tudor 39mm Pelagos. As always, a full gear list will be in the description, and I can't wait to take you guys on this trip.
Frank, I'm glad I could help. Thanks so much for the invitation. I hope you all enjoy.
Today we are taking out something really special. The brand new little brother of Tudor's flagship diver, the Pelagos 39. The new Pelagos is a chronometer certified automatic watch with the MT 5400 no date movement inside. The wrist to crystal is only 10mm and the lug to lug is 47mm. The bracelet is also titanium and is outfitted with the T-Fit folding clasp, complete with both micro extension and dive extension. When sized, the watch comes in at only 104 grams. For reference, an SKX is about 30% more on Jubilee at 130 grams. All this is possible with the reduction of water resistance from 500 meters to 200 meters and the removal of the helium escape valve. Two things 99.99% of people don't need anyways. Being that this watch is a newly sized down Pelagos, I thought it would be fitting to take it on an adventure into the backcountry that I would not dream of bringing the full size on. A 2-day overnight trip to Odessa Lake in the middle of October. In my opinion, Odessa is the crown jewel of Rocky Mountain National Park and sits at 10,000 feet of elevation. October in the mountains can be beautiful, but come night, it's not for the faint of heart. Temperatures plummet and the weather is temperamental. When this watch was first announced, immediately I had concerns about where this fits within Tudor's overall collection. What's the point of it? Initially, I just thought they should have released a titanium Black Bay 58 and left the Pelagos alone. Once in hand, I realized that this was a dumb thought. This is not just a sized down Pelagos or a titanium Black Bay 58. This watch has merit of its own. Our hike into Odessa was roughly 4.5 miles and 2,000 feet of elevation gain. We were treated along the way with views of the recently burned Fern Lake. I visited Fern 2 years ago prior to the fire and the difference was jaw-dropping. We ate leftover pizza and took in the views before heading out. Pro tip, pack in regular food like leftover pizza or a sub for your first meal. Your stomach will be thanking you for one less freeze-dried meal. Just over the ridge from Fern Lake, you are met by lush growth to Odessa. The contrast between the two made the lake all the more beautiful a destination. I used the Pelagos to time our 30-minute hiking efforts and lunch breaks. Within half an hour of arriving to Odessa, temperatures dropped into the 40s and our layers started piling on. For a trip during this time of year, I will be wearing a base layer shirt, a quilted sweater, a quarter zip, a nano puff, and finally a hard shell rain jacket. All of those layers will shove your watch down into your wrist, making it more and more uncomfortable. This is why I wouldn't have opted for a full-size Pelagos for a colder weather camping trip. At 39mm and 10mm thick, this watch is significantly more wearable. All this while maintaining the capabilities that virtually anyone could ever need in a dive watch. Yeah, I know you can't take this saturation diving without the helium escape valve, but guess what? You weren't going to anyways. The alterations from the original, in my opinion, make this watch an even better adventure companion, especially on a trip like this where you end up looking like the Michelin Man come nightfall. All right, guys, so we've made it to Odessa Lake. This is Odessa Lake. We got the Pelagos 39 on wrist. We're timing our dinner right now. I got ramen from Momofuku. I'm really excited to try it. My boys John and Reed are behind the camera. They're the ones that made this trip possible, so big shout out to them, and we'll update you guys as we go. Alarms were set for 10 p.m. to make an attempt at shooting Astro, but the full moon made catching a glimpse of the Milky Way impossible. Instead, we charged up the Pelagos' Lume with my Olight baton and took some longer exposure images until the cold forced us back into the tent. It's 11 o'clock. We just got done shooting astrophotography with the Pelagos. Full moon tonight, so not a ton of Milky Way shots, but the Pelagos looks great in the dark. The Lume is fantastic. Still got a ton of good shots. Sunday morning, we reconvened at the lakefront for morning bean juice and chasing the alpenglow. We just boiled our water. We're about to pour it over our coffee for morning bean juice. Into our Aeropress. A little bit of overflow, it's fine. Gotta mix this guy up. Now we're gonna set our timer. As you can see, the Pelagos works great with gloves. So our 6 minutes is done. We're gonna press our faux espresso now. Okay, here's our coffee, or our faux espresso. I'm gonna put it in my little tiny cup because it's cute. And there's our cup of coffee. As for the Alpenglow, Sky Daddy showed up, and it was spectacular. Afterwards, we packed up and headed out. So after a trip into the wilderness with the all-new diver, how does it stack up? To me, both as a diver and an all-around outdoors-oriented individual, it's phenomenal. The loom, legibility, bezel action, sizing, and finish are all fantastic. That being said, the watch does fall short in a couple areas. The clasp, while intuitive and easy to use, leaves some to be desired. I wish that there was audible feedback when using the clasp so you could better gauge where you are actually adjusting to. I really just wish that they use the same clasp as the full-size Pelagos. In fact, the clasp may be the only area where I give the full-size version an edge. The other small complaint I have is in regards to the bracelet. The edges are sharp, and I found it to be uncomfortable at times, snagging on hairs and scraping my skin. John, who owns this watch, and Will, who was also able to pick one up, tell me that this does not bother them at all. I still think it's worth mentioning because it was my experience, and seeing that many buyers will purchase this without the opportunity to see one firsthand, it could be a deal breaker. Ultimately, between the three Pelagi, this is by far the winner as the most well-rounded watch and will do the most for the most people. If I was to purchase one with my own money, this would be it. There is not really anything that the other two do better than this watch, outside of the clasp, and if you really need to do saturation diving. This has been a Watch Clicker field review, and if you want to know more about the new Pelagos, check out Tudor's website, and if you like this video, please subscribe. Massive shout out and thank you to John at Watches with John for making this review possible and allowing me to take his watch on this trip.